Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all of the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is John Campia.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California, and we are so glad you decided to make us part of your day.
Also here, John Schnepp.
I'm just here on Monday, painfully underdressed. I didn't come from the Amish Grits Awards ceremony like some people sitting at the
Also
table.
here looking so snazzy is Mark Ellis.
The Amish Grits Award ceremony? They give out grits for Amish?
A colonial Han Solo dress-up academy.
Grits were high on the Amish.
I don't know what. Look, that assistant manager job at Sbarro ain't going to hire itself, okay?
I'm saying you
gotta
look
dress
amazing.
for the job you want.
I have a schlubby t-shirt. You
Oh
look
my
amazing.
gosh.
What's going on?
It's Monday, which means it's time for our weekend box office report, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theatres. Claiming the #1 spot on its opening weekend is the new James Bond film Spectre. The super spy film brought in $73 million, which, to put into perspective, is more than double than all of last week's top 5 movies put together. Coming in second is the new Charlie Brown film Peanuts, taking in $45 million, also more than all of last week's top 5 films put together. Dropping down to the third spot is the Matt Damon film The Martian, adding $9.3 million to bring its worldwide total up to $458 million. In the #4 position is Goosebumps, making an additional $6.9 million, and rounding out the top 5 is the Tom Hanks Steven Spielberg film Bridge of Spies, making $6 million. John, what stands out to you about this week's box office report?
A couple things stand out to me, starting with Spectre. I believe on this show, I think I pegged Spectre for 115. Now, everywhere I'm reading, they're saying that Spectre met expectations. That's where the studio's happy with the number. That's great, but I honestly thought it was going to crack 100. I really did. So I was way off on that one. Again, broken record player, Matt Damon, The Martian,
Right.
still in the top 5, only dropped 20% this week to almost crack double digits in the millions again. So that's really great to see, and it's wonderful to see Peanuts doing so well. I really thought Peanuts would come in under that. I thought it's great. There's a nostalgia factor, but not a lot of new generation of people are looking forward to it. I pegged it about 30, 45, which to me is a great result. So a much better, much more recovered box office from last week, which was just abysmal. So a nice showing for a lot of films, Mark.
Yeah, well, the Amish guy called it because I didn't think that Spectre was going to do what Skyfall did, and it ended up not doing it. Now, I think part of the reason, and again, it sounds strange to say, is that Peanuts took some of that money away. Peanuts is a multi-generational appeal, and I didn't think it would do $45 million, but I was hopeful it would. I'm so happy to see that movie do well because I loved it. Spectre was critically received pretty well, but not like Skyfall was. People weren't raving about Spectre like they were the previous Skyfall and Casino Royale. They were also Daniel Craig films, so I think maybe that's why it didn't quite hit a number that you would love. The studio is probably happy with it, but I can't say that they're thrilled. The Martian. I'm so happy. This thing is going to still be in the top 5 when we actually get a man to land on Mars. And, you know, it's nice to see Goosebumps hanging around as well. But, yeah, Peanuts was the big win, I think, for this weekend.
You know what? It's almost like the Bond franchise is becoming the next Star Trek franchise. Remember back when Star Trek, Wrath of Khan, Search for Spock, all that kind of, it's like the first one, well, no, it was a little bit of the opposite, but it was like one comes out and is good, the next one comes out and people didn't like it. The next one comes out, it's great, the next one comes out, people, that's what we've got with Bond. So Casino Royale, everybody loved. Quantum Solace, then Skyfall, yay! And then Spectre is like, sort of thing happening. Anyway, that means the next one is bound to be awesome. Anyway, Schnapp, what do you think about the box office?
And unfortunately, I hope the next one doesn't have Daniel Craig in it because he seemed really bored in this Spectre. I thought Spectre was just okay. I just saw it, and I was like, looking forward to it like equaling Skyfall, and in no way did it equal it. It wasn't as bad as Quantum, but it just felt like, he was walking through the scenes, and also was very kind of like tired. There was like, Dennis and I both agreed, like the train fight sequence was incredible. There's a lot of action scenes that are amazing, but overall it just didn't have that same impact that Skyfall did. So ultimately, I think that's what's going to happen with its box office. It's going to do really well here in America, but it's not going to do amazing.
And I remember people telling me how great Skyfall was and being sold on Skyfall by the marketing. And Spectre, I was aware that the movie was coming out, but a lot of the billboards I saw around Los Angeles list, it was Daniel Craig in that Day of the Dead mask,
Right.
and then it says Spectre with 007 written in small letters behind it. And it's like, dude, a lot of people know that's even James Bond behind that mask. You got to see the movie to know he's the dude behind that mask at the beginning of the film. So I didn't love the marketing campaign for Spectre. Peanuts is also, I thought that was a little undermarketed as well, but I'm happy that people were aware it was coming out because that movie deserves to be seen.
Yeah, and Peanuts I saw this weekend too, and definitely it's a family film. Like it was like I thought that, like myself as an adult, I felt there was too many Snoopy Red Baron sequences for me.
Oh, I love
You can never have too many Snoopy Red Barons.
For my dumbass, you can. And I think
And
it was
it did.
for number 3, I was like, I hope that's the last one, and there were 2 more. So I was like, all right, come on, Snoopy, kill them already. But no, it was very enjoyable, and definitely I went there at a matinee with kids screaming the entire movie. So that's just that joy of having a lot of children in a theater, is you get to enjoy it with them, like watching it with them, talking the entire time. And at the very end, right when the credits hit, a kid yelled "Charlie Brown," and that was my favorite part of the movie because kids love this film. So it's definitely, if you have kids, bring them to see this Peanuts
It's not
movie.
just kids, man. I mean, I know, talking to Dennis and talking to a lot of people when they see, like, when people, everybody saw it before me, and so they're all coming out going, this movie's great. And so it's really happy to see the success for it. With Spectre, can't help but feel there was a missed opportunity there, because, you know, you come out of Skyfall and everybody really liked Javier Bardem's a villain, right? Now we're going into Spectre and you get 2-time Academy Award winner Christoph Waltz as the bad guy in a Bond film.
Right.
Are you effing kidding me?
Right.
This is going to be amazing. Kind of.
And your boy Dave Bautista too.
And Dave Bautista.
One of my big problems, and I know we're not reviewing it right now,
Right.
but the villains were a little underutilized, and it just, you know, again, that movie was fine with me. I enjoyed watching it, but it wasn't Quantum of Solace where I walked out scratching my head like, what the hell just happened?
Right.
But it just wasn't as good as Skyfall.
Right, Quantum of Solace. Was it about water or something, right? We're in the desert. I'm thirsty. Yeah, you instantly forget it.
And I will say that any screen time that Monica Bellucci is on screen is time well spent.
Right.
So I'm just
That was
gonna say
short.
that.
Dave Bautista was in it too little, and Christoph Waltz was just badly written. There's some bad scenarios.
All right, let's move on. What's next?
For some time now, Universal Studios has been working on getting a live-action The Little Mermaid film off the ground, and it looks like they just took a major step forward. According to a report in Variety, hit girl herself, actress Chloe Moretz, has been given the lead role in the new project. According to the report, Moretz has always been Universal's choice for the role, and director Sofia Coppola had to eventually leave the project over her unwillingness to use Moretz. The Little Mermaid is based on the 1837 story, which follows a young mermaid who gives up her life in the sea for a human prince. Mark, are you looking forward to a Little Mermaid live-action film, and what do you think of Chloe Moretz being given the lead role?
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but yeah, this sounds awesome. Like, I love that Chloe Moretz is in it. That sold me on making a Little Mermaid live-action movie. I was always a little curious as to how exactly you're going to pull this off. And then I started thinking about it. I want to see what a real-life mermaid movie is like, particularly one that takes place a lot of times, pardon the pun, under the sea. I want to know how you handle the Sebastian the Crab story, or even if you use that in there, because I'm not sure if a talking crab was in the Hans Christian Andersen novel that this was based on in the 1830s. So I want to see how much of the Disney tinge they keep, and maybe if they stick closer or just go off on their own path, making this new live-action movie. I am actually intrigued about The Little Mermaid.
I will say this, and this is a little bit of a spoiler, but I recently saw on Amazon there was a new puzzle on there of Chloe Grace Moretz as Ariel, and it says 1,000-piece puzzle piece of Ariel, in brackets, Daryl Hannah's daughter.
That's right.
So
I can back
might
that
be a
up.
little bit of a spoiler there with
So
that.
Tom Hanks did get her in the end. All right.
What was that called? Splash?
Splash.
Right? That's what
That's
this
what it was
reminds
called,
me of.
Splash.
This reminds me of Splash, for real. Yeah, I was kind of a little disappointed to hear that Sofia Coppola got forced out, because they're like, it's either you agree to this woman being the mermaid or you're out, you know? And so she's a very talented director, but at the same time, Chloe Moretz is a great actress, so I could see they were like, look, we really want her. We've signed her. You've got to do it. So I was like, kind of like, well, I don't want her. I've got someone else. I'm like, I don't know. That's sad to see Sophia go, because I think she would have added something to it. So I'm interested to see who they bring on to actually direct this film. So, but.
It is an interesting situation, though, with the director and whatnot. Sofia Coppola has not done it for me lately at all. Like, she had that big one with Bill Murray, Lost in Translation.
Right.
And then she put out a few other things that are just like, So I'm kind of waiting. And I remember when they first said she was going to be directing Little Mermaid, I thought that's really interesting.
Yeah.
But I really do like the casting of Chloe Moretz in this. I think she's going to do well. Now, a lot of people are wondering, wait a minute, Universal Pictures doing Little Mermaid. Doesn't Little Mermaid belong to Disney? The answer to that question is no, it doesn't. Little Mermaid is actually based, as Ashley said, on like a 1937 book. It's open source. It's public domain. Now, what that means is that anybody is free to tell their own Little Mermaid story. What Universal cannot do, though, is anything Disney did in their animated Little Mermaid movie that wasn't in the book, Universal can't do that.
Sorry, Sebastian.
Sorry,
I tried. I lobbied for you.
So no Under the Sea song, none of the original music. A lot of people thought it was going to be musical. Will Chloe be singing in this movie? No, maybe it'll be musical, but it won't be any of the songs from the Disney film because those are unique and original to Disney, not from the book. So it's an interesting thing. I'm looking forward to seeing her, and I'm really curious to see how they handle this. And you're right, how they handle an underwater kingdom and all that kind of stuff. Arnold Schwarzenegger will probably play her father.
But the fear with this movie is that it was a little rushed because they wanted to get in front of it in case Disney did decide, because Disney has done so many times recently, they've taken their animated properties and made them live action. So are you trying to rush this and get ahead of something? Are we going to get a bunch of mermaid movies coming out in the next couple of years?
God, I hope so.
Something about her as a mermaid. Again, like, mermaids are so ridiculous to me, and that's why Splash, I'm glad it was a comedy. It's so hard to take it seriously, but I just have a feeling this could work.
I want to see David Lynch do a mermaid movie, but it's like manatees, and
Yes.
the dude like falls in love. It's like, really is a mermaid. Like, you know, that's what, originally those sailors were out at sea too long, and they saw like some fish. They're like, my beautiful lover. You know, it's like twisted.
He could do like a mockumentary that's like Blackfish except with mermaids. That'd be really creepy to watch.
Crushing the real story behind mermaids.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show for a buy or a sell. Here's how this works. In front of her ass, she's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down. Then those of us at the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
This next story contains something that could be considered a Star Wars spoiler, but not really, so skip ahead if you're so inclined. A few days ago, a stir was created on the internet when some site ran with an item listed on Amazon and its potentially spoilerific title. The item in question is a 1,000-piece puzzle of Finn from the new Force Awakens movie. The problem is the item is listed as Star Wars Rare Collectible New Episode 7 Finn, Lando Calrissian's son, 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. John Byers-Sell that Amazon just gave away a major Star Wars spoiler.
Sell. I sell that they gave away a spoiler because they didn't give away a spoiler. Now, a lot of people, when this came out, I just couldn't believe what I was seeing. First of all, can we bring that image back up there again for a second, Dennis? Now, a lot of people are jumping up and down because you see the first blue lettering you see where it says collectible storage tin. It's got that by Disney Lucasfilm Limited. Should be pointed out here. There is no such company in existence called Disney Lucasfilm Limited. Does not exist. Also, if you look a little bit further down, this isn't by Amazon, because a lot of people would be saying, oh, it's Amazon's putting this out. Therefore, I mean, Amazon knows what they're doing. No. Look a little bit further down under only 14 left in stock. Couple more lines. It says sold by a company called P&E Enterprises or P&E Entertainment or something along those lines. So, and basically, here's the thing. Companies who sell their product, they create their own titles and their own things like that. And this is not from Disney. This is not from Lucasfilm. This is not from Amazon. Some company put together, by the way, $44 for a 1,000-piece puzzle is way overpriced. And so you have one of several situations here. And remember, people have been talking about, will Finn be Lando's son? Been talking about that for months and months and months. Why? Because apparently there's only one black dude in the Star Wars universe. That's not named Mace Windu. So a lot of people speculate, but it leads to one of three situations here. Number one, they were just uninformed. They hopped online, wait a minute, so who's this guy? And they read some rumor board. Oh, somebody's saying he's Lando's son. We'll put Lando's son. That's one possibility. Possibility number two, it's a flat out lie. They know it's not, but they put that on there in the hopes of selling more tin pieces and stuff like that. Option number three, they're just ignorant, where it's like, well, he's black. There's only been one other black guy. Must be his son. And they put, so is this legit? I have very, very little doubt that there is no legitimacy to this. And not only that, it would be the height of stupidity for Star Wars to actually have Finn as Lando's son. We always talk about one of the worst things Star Wars could do is continue to make the universe smaller. And if everybody is somebody's son and whatever, that would just be ridiculous. I think it would be a terrible move for them. Plus, look, Star Wars and Lucasfilm and Disney, they have done such an amazing job keeping everything under wraps. The fact that that Monday Night Football trailer did not leak before it aired on Monday night still completely blows my mind. They have done such a good job keeping all this under wraps. There is no way some butt-fart little company with some kind of puzzle is going to leak this out, and Disney isn't jumping on it within the first 5 seconds to have it pulled down. It's still up on Amazon right now. You think if that was real, that Disney's legal department wouldn't have burned that place to the ground by now? So I absolutely sell that there's any legitimacy to this whatsoever. But as we have said before, stranger things have indeed happened. Schnepp, how do you see this whole fiasco?
Man, I totally believe it is Lando's kid. No, it would make the universe incredibly small because you already Star Wars the main 6 films are about the Skywalkers, and Solo is just a peripheral part of the first 3, or the last 3 films, and then since he's with Leia, or we don't know what he's in the movie though, obviously, so. It would just be weird if that was Lando's kid. I think it would just make it just a little bit like, I've been looking for you. My dad told me to give you this, or, I could see them forcing it together, but I certainly hope not. It would be great if he was just a dude.
It would be funny, though, if it's like puzzle piece of Finn, in brackets, Lando Calrissian son, friend of the dead Wookiee Chewbacca. Like if they said something like that.
Or actually, like maybe he's like, I'm from Kashyyyk and I'm here to give you this puzzle piece of Life Day. Like Life Day is somehow integrated into Star Wars 7 and ruins it. Maud's there, like a ghost of Maud singing at the end. Let's ruin Star Wars 7 completely.
What do you think, Mark?
I bought a pair of Air Jordans from P&E Enterprises, and I didn't know he ever worked with Reebok, but that's what they are. I don't buy any of this crap. I think it's totally somebody that's trying to pull one over on the fans, and because everybody is so sensitive to, oh my God, look at all these spoilers. This could be happening. Is this happening? No, I don't think it's happening. Now, having said that, there is a small chance that they do decide to make Finn Lando's son.
Anything's possible.
If that is the case, or he's Mace Windu's kid, or whoever he's related to, I'm going to buy whatever this movie is telling me. When I go into the theater, I'm going to let them tell me whatever story they want to tell me, and then I'll judge it based on that. But I'm not going to judge it based on some puzzle that's up on Amazon. It's ridiculous to think that company has all this information that, oh no, Disney called them. And by the way, not only is Disney Lucasfilm not a company, neither is Disney Lucasfilms. Lucasfilms has never existed. Lucasfilm does, as one word, not Lucasfilms. It's stupid.
All right. There you have it. It is stupid. The official word now is that it is indeed stupid.
I like that it's rated
totally
a star and a half. It might not be
I
very
know,
good puzzle.
that's the thing. It's only rated a star and a half. And I think one of the things a lot of people was complaining about, wait a minute, this should be like $5. Why is it $45?
That star is from my grandma. Girl can put together some puzzles.
All right, what's next?
Speaking of Star Wars, the very first official television commercial for the new film Star Wars The Force Awakens aired this week, showing us more new footage than we've seen in any of the trailers to date. Mark, buy or sell this new TV spot for Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Oh my God, I bought this thing so hard. I love seeing this. I was at the airport yesterday morning and a bunch of people started tweeting that this thing was out, and I clicked on it and I couldn't believe I got treated to even more Star Wars footage this weekend. I loved it. That shot of the Millennium Falcon at the end going through the trees in the snow.
So cool.
And you know what? When you've been through an asteroid field, going through the trees ain't no big thing. Okay, that's just a normal Wednesday morning. I love how much new footage they showed, and the what I'm assuming is the Maz Kanata voiceover, and she's saying that I've seen your eyes before. It's maybe the clearest indication to me yet that Rey is definitely related to somebody in this universe, maybe Luke Skywalker. Now, she could have just been saying that, oh yeah, these eyes, I've seen these eyes before, just because she's seen other eyes of young dreamers who wanted to go on and be something more than they thought they could ever possibly become. Or maybe she's actually saying, hey, by the way, you got some Skywalker DNA in there. There's midichlorians falling all over that body.
Yeah, I mean, because not only this new commercial, but also if you go back to that, I don't think any of us were on the panel, that new, the Asian version of the international trailer came out, and she says, Rey says in that trailer, what do you wait for? My family. Okay, why don't you just take a big Skywalker-sized sledgehammer and bang us over the head with it? I thought it was great. I thought it was awesome. What is stunning me about this ties into that international trailer as well. A lot of times when you have your big trailer come out and then an international version of the trailer comes out, it's pretty much the same thing as the main North American trailer with a few little differences. That was a wholesale different trailer with some similarities to the original. Mm-hmm. And then the television commercials coming out. Well, that will just be the trailer condensed down to 30 seconds. It's like all new footage. Like I'm actually really surprised how much they're showing us at this point. And this will be the first time I'm saying this. I'm starting to get a little bit nervous about, like, if they've got 3 or 4 more commercials coming and they're all, I'm making big assumptions here, so just keep that in mind. These are big assumptions. But all of them are all completely new footage. We could be getting into the Amazing Spider-Man 2 territory here. as far as how much they're showing us. Now, maybe the next couple commercials are just going to be, recuts of footage we've already seen, and that would be fair and that would be cool. But as far as the commercial itself, I've seen your eyes. I know your eyes. Lupita Nyong'o married me.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, it's so good. It's so good. Anyway, Schnapp, what do you think about the
my
commercial?
favorite thing is the sweaties over at Ain't It Cool cut together a super cut of every scrap of cool footage, so you could watch it online. Go to YouTube and just like check out the Star Wars supercut. It's like now it's 5 minutes of footage. Like if you put it all together and in whatever order, they did a good job of putting it kind of like by planet and by scene kind of thing. I love the international trailer. It actually really made me feel like, oh, there's a cool story. There's like a quest there that is going to be really fun to go on with all these new characters. Obviously, one of them is going to be a Skywalker, whether it's Luke or whether it's Rey. And then the commercial is like your eyes, and then they cut away to Solo. So a lot of people are instantly saying, "Oh, it's Solo's kid." But I agree. I think it's probably Skywalker's involved in some way, shape, or form, or maybe not. It's hard to tell. I'm just like,
remember,
excited.
she can be Solo's kid and a Skywalker because because of Leia.
Yeah, of course. I don't want to see any more. I'll just say that. The international trailer was excellent, and then this new TV spot was just enough where I'm like, I'm not going to watch any more trailers. I feel like I don't want to see any more. I've got enough.
I said the same thing, but if the new trailers come out, we do have to watch them and talk.
I'm saying the same thing. It's like some kind of horrible drug. It's not even, I would do it even if I didn't have a job that I had to talk about it. I would still I refuse to watch it. Oh, a new one? Watch completely like 8 times. Oh, I wish I didn't see all that. Watch it again. Yeah, it's horrible.
Yeah, see, again, like part of me is up for like Monday Night Football running another new 2 minutes every week until the movie comes out. And then seeing this TV spot too. I mean, I woke up on Friday, I saw the trailer, and watching it, I talked about it online right away. And then afterwards, I started thinking about those lines, and I watched it a lot, and a lot of fans were tweeting at us and saying that, you know what, the voice that says I'm waiting for my family sounds a little bit different than what Daisy Ridley's voice is in that trailer. I think that might be Gwendolyn Christie's voice talking about waiting for my family. I think it might be a ruse. Let's not forget who's directing this movie. It's J.J. Abrams, and forever he said that no, Benedict Cumberbatch isn't a certain character in Star Trek Into Darkness, and then we saw that movie, and you can find out for yourself. But I think that they might be having a little bit of fun with us, watching us say, oh, who's she related to? Maybe she's not related to anybody, but this TV spot was the clearest indication yet that she could be related to Luke Skywalker.
Mark, I would say that I heard a disparity in that voice as well, but it is Rey's voice. It's just that they edited together two
Yes, not
sentences.
from the same conversation.
Yeah, she's like, I'm waiting for my family.
Yeah.
It's from 2 different parts of the film.
The way she hit that family. I watched this thing a lot, way too much for any normal human being. The way she hit that family note sounded a lot more Game of Thrones to me than before.
It's definitely different. They're editing it together in a creative way.
I don't think we're going to, and we'll go more into depth in this on Jedi Council, but I don't think we're going to see Phasma with that mask off. I think they're going to go the Boba Fett route where they're going to keep her mysterious and dark and threatening. And I don't think you're going to see her take her helmet off going, I miss my family. I just don't think that's going to happen.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying the ears are telling me something different.
No,
so.
That's exactly what's going to happen.
It's Rey, but it's 2 different scenes. They just edited her voice together.
Okay.
All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show now for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on this show, you can email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. Now, I'm going to let you guys know, too, we are doing this show live. We do the show live every day, Monday through Friday. There's like thousands of you watching right now in the chat board. At 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is when we do the show. So if you are watching us live right now, jump on Twitter and start sending in some of your own questions on Twitter, because Ashley's going to take some of your Twitter questions live. You can start sending them in now. Follow us and send your tweets to @ColliderVideo. That's where you can find us on Twitter. Send those questions in. Kiss up to Ashley a bit, because she's the one who decides if your question gets on the air. But we'll get to those after the mailbag. For now, Ashley, what's in the mailbag?
Mohammed Faze writes, hi guys, I was wondering if the Tomb Raider franchise will get another outing soon after the recent success of the video game reboot.
As a matter of fact, it's in the works. It was announced in February or March, April, somewhere in that timeline, that they were going to be rebooting the franchise. And I think they said, I'll look up to this in just a second. I believe they said that it's going to kind of be based on the rebooted video game series as well. So as far as I know, I haven't heard anything since, but that's not totally unusual for just 5 or 6 months later. This could have a long gestation period, but it sounds like they do have a new Tomb Raider reboot in the works. We'll probably hear something about it before April, I'm going to guess. But I know, Mark, what do you think about the idea of a new Tomb Raider movie, and what have you heard about the progress of it so far?
Well, not only am I up for one, I already got the puzzle that says Lara Croft, John Boyd's daughter. So I'm totally in for a Lara Croft movie. And yeah, I remember them announcing that they're going to reboot it, and it makes so much sense to me. Maybe not quite yet. I think that the video game resurgence, as far as movies go, hasn't quite happened yet. Now, we're anticipating it happening with a lot of cool movies like Warcraft and something like that coming out, or Assassin's Creed, and we want to get these video game movies to be the new comic book movies where you get great quality every time. Once we get that train to chew going a little bit, it is the perfect time to reboot Tomb Raider with somebody new as Lara Croft. There's a lot of exciting opportunities there. There's a lot of stories you can tell in that world, so it should definitely be cinematic once again.
All right, I should bring this up. This is a little concerning to me. Apparently, they already have a writer on board. MGM already has a writer on board by the name of Evan Daugherty. Evan Daugherty. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The Daugherty.
However, here's where I get a little bit concerned. Writer of such films as Snow White and the Huntsman, Divergent,
Oh boy.
and the upcoming G.I. Joe 3, which we haven't seen, so we don't know. They also wrote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which Schnepp and I were surprisingly big fans of. We like that. So, yeah, I mean, let's see which way they're going with it.
I like Ninja Turtles, okay? I'm sure G.I. Joe 3 is going to be an Oscar-winning film. Divergent, he just had to adapt from a book. So Snow White and the Huntsman, I didn't hate. I didn't love the casting choices, but Snow White and the Huntsman was, okay, I'll give it a shot.
I would
Schnepp, what do you think
I would
about
like
this?
to see the new Tomb Raider go even more Indiana Jones with the female lead. I just think it's like I thought the Angelina Jolie Tomb Raider movies were okay.
I thought the first one was okay.
Yeah,
It wasn't
the second one, The Cradle of
at
Life,
all.
was a little more, spun all over the place. But I think it's like when you're playing the video game, it's like if that's the goal is to transfer that feeling of when you're playing the game into a 2-hour movie. So it's like it's not like a POV thing. That's not what they would need to transform. They need to transform that energy and the fun of exploration, and that's what Lara Croft was all about, was like tomb raiding, going in, like exploring, and like all these strange puzzles and weird stuff. So that has to be part of the movie. So I mean, I'm hoping that wasn't a big of a part of the first two films. It was more I'm on this weird quest, and like these weird monkeys. And you guys remember the first two movies?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't mind the first. The first one to me is the closest video game movie ever that came to being pretty good. Mortal Kombat aside, Mortal Kombat aside, but yeah, the second one I thought was just
Yeah, I mean,
terrible.
I remember watching them and thinking this was a lot more like National Treasure than
Yes.
it was
Yeah.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, good
and
point.
look, every time you make a movie that's about an adventure, it's not going to become the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. It's probably going to be like the 4th Indiana Jones movie. But I would love to see him take another shot. There's so much lore. There's such a great, rich character there. So they should do another movie.
All right, what's next?
Andrew Cook writes, "Hey guys, have you heard that a movie based on the video game and book series The Witcher has been announced for 2017? Any thoughts?"
Yeah, actually, and we have Witcher here in the office. It has been played by you and stuff like that. Look, you just watch the opening like 15-minute cinematics and stuff like that. And the mythology behind the Witchers and stuff like that. There's a movie to be told there. Now, we are heading into an age right now where Warcraft and Assassin's Creed is coming out that will hopefully change the landscape of video game movies. All video game movies up to this point have sucked. But if we can get that seal broke with either Warcraft or Assassin's Creed, Witcher could be something that would be really quite interesting. Unfortunately, it requires a big budget. I mean, you can't do a Witcher movie and not have a big budget. Now, by big, it doesn't have to be $200 million, but probably in the $125 million range. That means big risk. So they're rolling the dice on it, but I'm happy for it. Schnepp, what do you think about this?
Yeah, as long as they wait 2 years, because they just had that Vin Diesel Witcher movie come out. You don't want to have people, is this a sequel to The Last Witch Hunter? Witcher? It's like, I can see
great point.
I can see how people could, that could get too close because of the titles. But playing The Witcher I think it's a fantastic, fantastic game. And I only played it for like about 3 or 4 hours. It's obviously, there's people who are like, I spent 8 months playing. It's like a very deep game that you can go on a lot of side quests. So I would love to see them take the newest Witcher and use that story that they have where they're on the hunt for that one witch. It's fantastic. So if you haven't even played the game, just play the game just to get in preparation to watch the 2-hour version, the digest version of the actual 80-hour game. So I hope they do a good job. It's 2 smaller production companies that I never heard of. That's who's producing it. So
yeah, I mean, monster hunting is a great idea for a big budget movie. That's the question, though, is what is the budget going to be? Is it because the Last Witch Hunter, some of the visuals were okay, some weren't so good, and it was a fine movie for just throwing popcorn in your face and turning your brain off. But The Witcher also gets a little more into like the morality of doing this. Like should I even be doing this right now? It's almost like watching an episode of 24 where you're rooting for Jack Bauer, but you're also like, your interrogation methods are a little dicey. And The Witcher seems like a great property you could bring to the big screen, and I hope that we get that resurgence with video game movies that we all are talking about. It could be with Assassin's Creed. It could be with Warcraft. It could be with Ratchet and Clank. Who knows when the first good video game movie after Mortal Kombat is coming out? The Witcher should be in the running.
You know what? Oh, wait, this just in. It will not be Ratchet and Clank.
But also, the movie comes out, I think they're talking about a 2017 release date. And the studio...
That seems ambitious.
One of the production companies that's working on it is the Sean Daniel Company, which, God love them, they also did the Mummy reboots. And that's what I'm worried about with a video game movie like this is you're just using a name brand and you're going to throw some CGI in there, and you're just going to not make as rich of a story as we want. With something like The Witcher, there's so much rich source material to mine, so I hope they do it correctly.
I'm actually of the mindset that I hope that they go with a slightly lower budget and really concentrate on the story elements, because the story elements can be done on a low budget. Like I'd even say like 20 million. Like, I know that sounds incredibly low, but
that's incredibly low.
I know, but they could do that, bust off in Bulgaria somewhere and just use a lot of the sets that are already kind of like they're living Witcher sets. You just move in. I think they could do it on a low budget and then do some of the big special effects and save that money for those set pieces that would be in the middle and the last act. I don't know. I think like playing it safe with Witcher is how I would go. I wouldn't spend 125 million on it.
It's a great pitch at a studio meeting. Like, hey, we want to make The Witcher for 1/8 of the cost of Gambit. Give us the money.
I know, right?
The risk I think you run though is that fans of the game, if you don't really go all out with the monsters and the combat and the magic and stuff like that, they could be very upset. They could be.
I'm just saying the costuming, and like if you look at Witcher and broke it down from a budgetary standpoint, you were like, I could shoot half of that in Bulgaria with sets that already exist that Uwe Boll made. Just redress them. Oh, look, I'm just spending an extra $1 million just making these sets look better. Bam.
Like the moisture farm in Tanzania.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Eduardo Lopez writes, hey guys, a few months ago, John, Christian, and Schnepp talked about making a list of movies that everyone should see at some point. Whatever happened to that? As a current film student, I would love it if you guys did this. Thanks and keep up the great work.
Yeah, we brought up this idea, and it is crazy how many people still email me, tweet me, and everything about wanting that list. So basically, a couple months back, Schnepp and I said, what we got to do is we got to put together a list of what we think are like 20 films that are not necessarily the 20 greatest films of all time, but 20 films that we feel that if you're a film fan, these are 20 films you have to have in your repertoire. You have to have these 20 films. You need to have watched these 20 films. Going back, some slightly more modern, a lot of classics, things like that. And we just have never gotten around to doing it. Right. But we talked about it in our staff meeting, and today we are doing it. And it's probably not just going to be me and Schnepp. We'll probably get Christian and Mark involved, Dennis involved as well, in getting that list put together. So hang tight. It is absolutely coming. We are going to put that list together, and we're looking forward to doing it. It should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're going to meld. We're basically going to take our top 20s and then kind of meld them together. So it's not like
to make one definitive list.
Movies. It's like it's going to be like what we all will agree on is like you have to see these 20 movies.
So we're in agreement like Bloodsport, Death Warrant, Nowhere to Run,
without question.
Hard Target, Double Impact, Lionheart. All those movies should be in.
Really, it's a list of those plus 12 more.
Right. Crawl, Battle Beyond the Stars,
what 12 movies do we put
Starfighter,
alongside of those?
Highlander 2, The Quickening, stuff like that.
You have to reduce the amount of movies that you're talking about because I threw so many Van Damme movies in there.
That's right.
It's like, here's Mark's 8 Van Damme movies, and then here's Citizen Kane.
And spoiler, Citizen Kane will most likely... What's no-brainers that'll be on there? I think we're all going to say Citizen Kane.
Lawrence of Arabia.
I was going to say, I think we're all going to say Lawrence of Arabia.
I don't know if this would be... Alien is a film that I think everyone should
We'll see. Let's see.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to put down a list, and we'll probably argue about a bunch of them. I think we should have a list of 20 and then our own personal, like, 3 runners-up that didn't make the list.
Here's how we said we're going to do it, and I think this is kind of a good way. So we're going to get, like, me, Dennis, Mark, Schnepp, and Christian. So the 5 of us, we're going to make, each one of us will make a list of 20. And then we're going to have an empty list of 20. And then we'll go through all of our 5 lists and say, any film that's on all of our lists, move it over into that list of 20.
Cool.
Then if there's still some empty spots, what movie is on at least 4 of the list. Move those over into 20, and we'll keep
Right.
doing that until we've got a full list of 20. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be fighting hard for Easy Rider, man. Now, I
Dude,
know
I'm
Van
with
Damme
you.
isn't in it, but it's
No,
great.
Easy Rider, I'm with
There's
you on
one
that.
with
son.
2 right there.
Apocalypse Now, bam. That's
It'll
you
be
know,
interesting to see.
good,
And
yeah,
remember,
it's gonna
once
be
again, we're
good.
not necessarily saying what are the 20
Right.
greatest films of all time.
Right.
But these are films that, if you want to really get a grasp of where a lot of films that were influenced later on and what was groundbreaking, these are the ones that we're going to try to do. So that should be a lot of fun.
20 could be really hard, though. We might have to go to 30.
Oh,
But
there's going to be
I think
blood
our list,
spilled.
our way we're doing it of the films that all of us agreed
Right.
on, then 4 of us agreed on. I think
But
we'll
just
do pretty
imagine,
well.
like, you guys all are going to say Star
we
Wars.
could do 100.
So it's like 3 Star Wars. That's like, this only leaves 17
Well, yeah,
films
that's
out of
right.
the entire history
all 6
of film.
Star Wars movies should be all 7 after
6.
December.
I'm just saying, like, maybe we should also bracket into, like, it has to be at least 2 movies every 5 years.
I love when
'Cause
we
there's,
do,
you
when we
know,
do the video,
it's that
everybody's
maybe
going to
not
be
the
bandaged
30s.
up
Well,
and
you know
have
what I
black
would say
eyes
though,
and stuff.
for me, I would say like Star Wars for me would be like, I would count personally the original trilogy as 1 spot. I would count that.
Or you
as
could throw
1
Empire
spot.
in there as a pretty good representative of all things Star Wars and maybe the best film in the Star Wars
Yeah, I mean,
universe.
if there's a Star Wars movie, we'll just say, okay, we got to agree that 1 Star Wars movie will be the representative of Star Wars. So whether that's Empire, the original, or
yeah,
Return
and
of
my
Jedi,
Ewoks
whatever.
would lose, and I accept that, even though it's my favorite movie.
Return of Jedi is my favorite of the series too.
It's so great.
It is so great. All right, folks.
What's wrong with you nerds? Just kidding, people from Texas. Just kidding. I'm a nerd, too.
All right, listen, we told you we would take some of your live questions, and we're going to do that right now. Once again, make sure you are following us on Twitter at Collider Video. Send in your questions right now. We're going to spend the next 10 or 15 minutes just taking some of your live stuff. Ashley is our gatekeeper. So, Ashley, what have you picked out?
Film Trivia 1000 writes, what actor and or actress do you feel is a chameleon?
Oh, that can like just do anything. To me, the best example of that right now is still Russell Crowe. I mean, Russell Crowe can be the big, intimidating gladiator. He can be a wimpy little, like overweight guy, like blowing the whistle on the tobacco industry. He can be a lot of different things, and he will do it all amazingly. No matter what he does, he can do it. He can do comedy. If you haven't seen Mystery Alaska, I won't put it on my list of 20. But if you have not seen Mystery Alaska, see Mystery Alaska. So freaking funny. Such a great little movie. Things like that. Actress, I mean, this is gonna. It's so obvious that it's like a cop out. But the Streep,
Right.
I mean, the Streep can do anything.
Ricky in the Flash, man. She
Dude,
played guitar.
she learned, and Ricky in the Flash, I was talking to Diablo Cody, writer. She was actually in here sitting in that chair where you are right now, who wrote Ricky in the Flash, Academy Award winner Diablo Cody. And she was telling that 6 months before the shooting of that film, Meryl Streep had never picked up a guitar. Meryl Streep, get this, in 6 months, this just makes me mad. She learned how to play guitar and to sing and all that kind of stuff. Well, she's done some singing before. All the scenes you see in Ricky in the Flash of her playing guitar and singing is actually her playing guitar and singing. This woman can do anything at all. So those would be the 2 I would
Can
go
you
with.
believe they turned her down for King Kong? Sorry about that. Remember that?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, you're too ugly.
It worked out pretty good, though.
It worked
Still
out for
worked
her,
fine.
yeah. I'd say Charlize Theron is in that
yeah,
world.
she's great.
And so is Kate Winslet. Those are the top
Oh, yeah,
females
Kate's another one
as
who
far
can do
as like
anything.
incredible actresses who can just fall into a role. I would give Christian Bale a good shout out for a lot of his transformations. I mean, he went from like the thinnest man in The Machinist
yeah.
to a kind of a comb-over fatty in The American Hustle. You know, when I say fatty, I mean it loosely, not super fat, but just thick. And but no, he's a great actor. I would also, I was going to say Fassbender. He really falls into his roles pretty well.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
he
from
was so good
Magneto,
in Jobs and
to 12 Years a Slave, like just a person that you absolutely hate. So those are my picks right off.
Yeah, I love looking at people who start out maybe in a more comedic background, can end up doing comedy or drama. So I'd throw Octavia Spencer, somebody who recently, she can be funny or she can be heartbreaking on screen, as well as Michael Keaton has done it all. Tom Hanks has done it all. Jim Carrey, I think, can do it all still. So I throw them in the mix as well.
I'm reading some great ones. Some people are saying like names like Kate Blanchett. Obviously, that's a great one. This is from you guys online right now. Some people saying DiCaprio. Honestly, somebody said Ahmed Best.
Well, give the guy a break. Misa, need a job.
I thought that was great. All right, what's next?
Hamza writes, what in your opinion is the worst casting ever done?
Well, I mean, who knows? But I mean, one that usually stands out to me too, that really stand out to me is about just poor casting, where it's not necessarily bad actress. It's just that wasn't the role for her. Mary Jane in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films.
Kristen Dunst.
Kristen Dunst, very good actress. That she was not right for that. And then staying in the comic book genre, she played Lois Lane in Superman Returns.
Oh yeah, Kate Bosworth.
Kate Bosworth.
Yeah.
Once again, an actress I like quite
She's
a bit.
just too young.
Oh my God!
When did you win that Pulitzer Prize? When you were 12?
I know. But for the whole rest of the film, it wasn't the
Weird.
right cast. Talented people just miscast. When I think of miscast, I don't just think about getting a bad actor. No,
Right.
Somebody who could be considered a good actor, but that wasn't the right role for them.
Here's one
for
of
me.
my most recent horrible casting decisions. 2-time Oscar winner Christoph Waltz was cast in Tim Burton's Big Eyes, and it ruined the entire movie.
Not a fit
for me.
Not a
yeah.
good fit.
Him in Big Eye.
It ruined it. He was overacting. It was like he didn't fit. Like everyone else was naturalistically acting, and he's like, I'm a weird cartoon character. Ruined the movie for me.
So, but is that a case of being miscast, or he just did a bad job in the movie?
No, I mean, I don't think he did. I think he did what he thought was expected of him. I think it was like, I mean, it's not up to the director to tell once an actor is cast to be like, do what I say and do line readings. It's like you were cast for a reason to bring the thing that you bring that you've won 2 Oscars for, and it just didn't fit, at least in my opinion. So,
Mark?
Yeah, I always go back in the comic book genre. I always go back to Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. It just
nice one.
It was just watching. It's just like I see where you're going with Two-Face, and even though I didn't like the way Joel Schumacher was taking that movie, Jim Carrey was a great casting choice as the Riddler for what that movie was, and just Tommy Lee Jones, it just wasn't really in his wheelhouse, and it was kind of hard to watch.
here's Tommy Lee Jones.
Yeah, he's such a great actor, and it's funny that
Oh.
even being a great actor and having such talent, you're not right for everything.
That's true. All right, what's next?
Hannah Manny Forseen writes, how can you tell while watching a film if the direction is good or bad?
There's a couple of key things that stand out to you, and direction, like anything else, is subjective, and whether it works for you. To me, it's about story flow. Does one scene naturally flow to the other? Is the story being told, or does it feel like... here's a real flag to me about a movie that is a poorly directed movie. When each scene feels like it's its own little thing, and then just the next scene is just kind of slapped beside it, and then the next scene, which is its own little thing, just slapped beside it. Really good direction does a lot of different things, but one of the things that I notice immediately is how does everything flow? Is there connective tissue that just really makes it streamline and flow, so you feel the narrative and the story flowing off the screen at you? And the other thing is the performances of the actors. I mean, that's the number one job of the director, to me, is getting the right performances out of their actors. So those are the two. There's 1,000 other criteria, 1,000 of them. But to me, that's one, is that do the various scenes just feel like a collection of scenes slapped together, or do they feel like they're one cohesive thing that flows together? And Schnepp, as a director, what stands out, what catches your eye negatively when you're sitting down and watching a movie about the direction?
Tone. Like the very first thing for me is like, no matter what kind of film it is, if it's a slapstick comedy or if it's a hard sci-fi, keeping the tone of the beginning to keep your suspension of disbelief going through whatever it is that you're seeing within those 2 hours, to keep you there and to keep the story moving along. Tone has a lot to do with it. And if it's like all of a sudden the tone shifts from one thing to the other, and it pulls you out of the film. So that to me is like keeping the tone is one of the most important things. Sometimes, and also once again, workshopping with actors so that they're all in the same universe. Like that's the one thing where you have disparate performances will once again throw you out of the movie, where one person thinks they're in a comedy, the other person thinks they're in a melodrama. You got to have both of them. Like, no, you're actually both of you are in this really serious soap opera. It's neither. So those two things.
Yeah, it's an amalgam of so many things where you're talking about cinematography or visual effects or the way the music is. At the end of the day, all that stuff is the director's call. It's his job, or the studio's, to take care of all that stuff. And the acting is the thing that I will notice most of all, is if I believe the acting. But even more than that, is if I can watch a movie and not notice the directing. If I can just sit back and just not be aware that this is a movie that is being directed. If I can get that sucked into the story where I just believe everything that's happening. Sometimes directors like to have their own personal flair on there, which is fine, like Tarantino or Guillermo del Toro. I appreciate that, but also let me disappear into this movie and not think about this as a production that was made and is no longer existing. Let me believe I'm in this universe.
Right.
All right, what's next?
I'm going to love your responses to this one.
Oh, here we go.
Samuel Varg writes, pick one movie to define your character, not favorite movie, a movie that tells who you are.
Oh, God.
It's going to take some thought.
To define our
Who
own
you
personal.
are, yeah.
Yeah.
What movie can you watch to define who you are?
Oh, God.
I'll let you think about this a little bit. For me, I think of The Sandlot.
Ooh,
I
good
really
one.
do. I for a lot of different reasons, and that I could spend the next half hour talking about. But for me, it's probably The Sandlot. What about you guys?
I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Probably Eraserhead from. No, I don't. I'm trying to think of a serious one. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say Tom Cruise in Top Gun is a little too obvious for everybody. So I'll go with something a little. I like to think of myself as a Marty McFly type. I mean, I have a lot of energy. I'd love to go back in time. I'm a huge Van Halen fan, but even more so than that, there's a movie called Win a Date with Tad Hamilton, and there's a certain actor in that movie named
wife
Topher
loves
Grace.
that. My wife
And
loves that movie.
I look a lot like Topher Grace, and when I watch Topher Grace in that movie, I feel a lot of the same emotions that he has. When you really like a girl and you're just worried that, oh, this big stud is going to go take her away from me, there's nothing I can do, and he gets stuck in the friend zone all the time. I'm happy to say I've dug my way out of that for now, but a lot of times in life, I felt like Topher Grace in Win a Date with Tad Hamilton.
Now, Dumb and Dumber could apply to this table. Perhaps another one for me would be Steve Martin's The Jerk.
Nice.
I don't know. A few other big classics come along.
You know
All
what?
right.
For me, it's a combination of Bluto from Animal House.
Yeah.
And the main character that Jim Carrey played in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. If I could combine those two personalities, then you got me a little bit, which is horrible. But
All right, what's next?
Carrie Smart writes, what do you guys think of a Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs prequel, maybe Netflix series? Love you guys.
That's an idea that has been floated around a lot. I mean, there's a lot of talk about the Vega brothers, having the Vega brothers together. And it is unfortunate that the state of things means it would have to be prequel and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not a fan of prequels in general. Not that they can never work and stuff like that. But, it would have to be done by Tarantino. If it's not done by Tarantino, I automatically have no interest in it because those are his stories, and I don't get the sense from Tarantino that he has any interest in sequels, prequels, whatever. He's got a catalog of ideas and things that he wants to do, and I don't think revisiting old characters like that, I mean, cameoing an old character of his in a new project is something he might do, but I don't think we'll see something like that. Schnepp, what do you think?
boy, I wonder if he would be party to like just getting Travolta and Madsen and not being the Vega brothers, but like the Sega brothers, or just like rework his script a little bit and like, just have those guys in it. That would be dope.
The Sega brothers, they can just be like play Altered Beast.
Yeah,
all day.
Genesis, Sega Genesis.
Well, I mean, Tarantino might not be interested in doing a prequel to those stories, but he is interested in doing television. I had the privilege of being at the Comic-Con panel that he was on talking about The Hateful Eight. And one of the things he brought up is that if he continues to feel constrained making movies, where he takes a lot of time to make his movies, and his movies generally run well over 2 hours because he has such a rich story that he's trying to tell. And he alluded to the fact that on TV now, with the state of things being Netflix and Hulu and Amazon the way they are, you have a lot of freedom when you're telling a story, and you have a lot of time to tell it. You can have 10 hours, you can have 13 episodes, whatever you want. So I think Tarantino might work on a TV project sooner than later. It probably won't be a prequel to the Vega brothers, but you're going to see something from Tarantino on TV. I'm willing to bet.
All right, let's take three more.
All right, Jose writes, do you think Andrew Garfield will play another superhero, or is that over for him? Thanks.
It's difficult. I mean, look, an actor playing a superhero and then coming back in another franchise as a superhero, not unprecedented. We've seen it happen a couple of times, most notably, of course, with Chris Evans playing the Human Torch and then coming back and playing Captain America. And I thought him as the Human Torch was one of the few redeemable things about the original Fantastic Four films as well. And he's done a magnificent job as Captain America. I think he's done a great job as Captain America. So it's not unprecedented. It's not unheard of. And it's not impossible. That being said, I don't think it's likely. Number one, his options have now been drastically cut since Sony and Marvel have made the deal where Spider-Man now inhabits the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well as his own independent films. So unlike Human Torch, which is a Marvel comic book character, and Captain America, they were two completely separate movie universes. So to bring him, he can't pop up in Marvel. And I really can't think of anything that he really fits well for DC. Not impossible, but I also get the feeling from him, and I think he is an outstanding actor. I've gone on record, I think he was robbed of an Academy Award for his Best Supporting Actor nod in The Social Network. I thought he brought the humanity and the heart to that movie. I love Andrew Garfield but I don't think, for a lot of different reasons, I don't think we're going to see him in another superhero film. I just don't think it's going to happen. Mark, do you think we might?
I think you might down the road, but the problem is that he was so good as Spider-Man, but when you look at Spider-Man and Peter Parker, it's not necessarily the classic superhero mold. Chris Evans as Captain America, like Chris Evans, you look at the dude and you're like, yeah, that's definitely Captain America. He just has that physique. He carries himself like that. The whole thing of Peter Parker is that he's somebody who didn't really want superpowers, and he's got these weird things, but he's kind of a gangly kid, and he's an awkward high school kid, and that's not your classic superhero mold, so that limits his options for who he could play. I think down the line, he might be more suited to play a villain somewhere than a superhero.
That'd be intriguing.
And I'd love to see his take on that, because I agree with you. He's a fantastic actor. Watching him go toe-to-toe with Michael Shannon in 99 Homes a couple months ago was just another reminder of that. I'd love to see him in as many stuff as they'll throw him, because I think Andrew Garfield is a treasure. A treasure.
What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Andrew Garfield's a great actor. I don't think he needs. I mean, he just played Spider-Man. I mean, how many? He was like one of the biggest lead roles in any superhero movie you can ever be in. And as an actor, he's like, a lot of actors and actresses look at themselves as the tools of the craft. If someone was like, look, we would love you play Eddie Brock in the new Spider-Man 4 in like 5 years or
That'd
something.
be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you'd be like, yeah, I'll do it. He's an actor, but he's going to be constantly hired because of the caliber of an actor that he is, that he's not going to be missing out on anything, I don't think.
Andrew Garfield as Venom going against
I know,
Spider-Man
right?
would be
cool.
the coolest thing
Yeah.
ever.
All right, what's next?
Aaron writes, is there a movie that made you vomit? Sorry, not sorry.
Nah. No, I mean, the movies that have come close to make me go, was from tension. Nothing, I've never seen anything on screen that's made me go, oh, because it's so gruesome or whatever. But I mean, I go back to this movie all the time, but holy frick, the Descent.
Ooh, yeah.
Before the monsters even show up in that movie, you've talked about this before too.
Yeah.
They're cave diving and they're crawling through, and I'm telling you, I thought I was going to be physically sick. Yeah. Like, that's how good of a job they do in that movie with the cinematography choices.
You're like all inchworming. You're like, people are crazy.
I'm freaking out watching that movie.
Sweating.
Like, it's, oh my God, it's so tense. Anyway, that's the one for me. What about you guys?
Physically ill. I'd said this earlier, like Martyrs, when I was watching that movie. That movie's like a very intense horror film, which isn't for everyone. I wouldn't even say I'd ever watch it again. So that kind of film, but like physically ill, like watching a horrible garbage film was probably like Island of Frankenstein. What was that Frankenstein movie called?
Frankenstein,
the Island of Dr. Moreau?
No. It was like the one with
Frankenstein?
Not Frankenstein Unbound.
Sorry, I couldn't even remember what it was called. It was so horrible.
The Island of Frankenstein.
Yeah, it was like Frankenstein explosions. Everybody was exploding in like rainbow fireworks. It was so dumb.
I guess you boys have never witnessed Transformers 4 Age of Extinction, because I actually had a physical breakdown after that movie, and it's not a lie. Like, I had a really intense workout over that day. I played basketball for a long time. I took a post-workout supplement that I didn't feel great, and then I went to go see Transformers Age of Extinction, and by the end of the movie, I was like physically shaking. I went home. I stopped at Jack in the Box on the way to get something to eat, and then I get home, and I'm just sitting in the tub eating a hamburger like a heroin addict, and it was the closest I've ever been to vomiting in general in the last couple of years, and I blame Michael Bay and Transformers fully for everything that I went through.
Although in the defense of Transformers 4, it is at least a little bit educational, because before Transformers 4, I didn't know that every average citizen in Hong Kong was also a ninja. Didn't know that before Transformers 4.
I didn't know robots had cigars. Throw the grenades over there. Hated that film.
All right, last question of the day.
Tate AMC's son writes, thoughts on Leonardo DiCaprio in a Scarface reboot? I heard that Scorsese is looking to do it.
This would be one of those questions of fit to me. I don't think Leo fits that. I think Leo is a world-class actor. He's one of the elite right now, and I don't see it as a fit. So if they did it, I'm into it. I'll watch it, absolutely, but it wouldn't be in my first top 3, 4, or 5 choices for it. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we have to have some fun with the ethnicity there, or else maybe they change the backstory a little bit. Like, you can still have the Scarface tropes without having it be a Cuban immigrant coming to Miami. So, we don't want a Fisher Stevens in Short Circuit situation. So maybe Leo somewhere else. and he becomes this drug kingpin. I'd love to see him in a role like that. The Oscar-winning Leo DiCaprio for The Revenant, but we'll see if he. It just doesn't seem like he'd be the right fit. But him and Scorsese are so good together. If they did some sort of drug-related movie, I'd be up for it.
I mean, it really depends. Are they going to go back to like the 20s or 30s to do that kind of a remake of the original Scarface?
Right.
Or are they going to just do
are we talking the original
Scarface?
Scarface?
Are we talking like 2018 Scarface, where it's like all about like shipping and receiving drugs?
You know what?
Nowadays?
Now that you mention it, I think I remember hearing when they were first talking about I think I heard that they were going to borrow more from the original Scarface, not the Al Pacino
Right,
one.
you can't mess with the Brian De Palma Al Pacino Scarface. That is legend. That is gold. You cannot remake that. That is just burned in forever.
That's a great point. But the original, like 1920s
I'm talking
film,
the original, yeah.
which might be on our top 20 movies you need to see list.
Keep your eyes open for that.
Could happen.
Speaking of keeping your eyes open, this Wednesday, John Schnepp, myself, Mark Ellis, and Christian Harloff, we are going to, because apparently we hate ourselves, we're going to sit down and watch the entirety of Star Wars The Phantom Menace, and we're going to have a video camera and some microphones in our hand pointed at us as we watch it. We are going to give full running commentary on Star Wars The Phantom Menace this Wednesday, and then each Wednesday between now and when Star Wars The Force Frickin' Awakens comes out, we're going to have every Wednesday us giving commentary on all 6 of the Star Wars movies, starting with The Phantom Menace this Wednesday night. Should be online in the evening sometime, I think. Dennis might put it up Thursday morning, but I think Wednesday night is probably when it's going to go up. So keep your eyes open for that. We're really looking forward to doing it. All right, folks, that'll do it for us for this installment of Collider Movie Talk. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing out our friends over there at AMC Theatres right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. You a fan of entertainment news? Of course you are. Why else would you be here? You need to bookmark Collider.com if you want to be kept up to date by the minute on everything going on in the world of film and television, stuff like that. Steve Weintraub and his crack team of writers over at Collider.com doing a great job of keeping you informed, up to date, and one step ahead of the curve. Make sure you bookmark Collider.com. Tune in for Heroes tomorrow, Jedi Council on Thursday, mailbags on the weekend. This weekend mailbags are now up. Go and check them out. We've got recap shows coming. Tonight we got Supergirl. Tomorrow we got Flash and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Lots of stuff going on over here, which just kind of highlights the fact that you need to be subscribed to Collider Video right now. Just take a second, click the subscribe button, be kept up to date. I want to thank the guys sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting over here on my left, Mr. John Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find you online?
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, just at John Schnepp and at TDOSLWH. Tonight, I'm actually going to be on the Supergirl recap. And,
you are going to be on it?
I'm going to guest on it.
That's awesome.
I think, because one of the gals can't be there, so I'm going to sub in and give you
John
my perspective.
Schnepp is going to be on the Supergirl
I
recap
can't wait.
show tonight.
I love that show. And then tomorrow is Collider Heroes, so please write in, just hashtag Collider Heroes. Get me those sweaty questions. Me, Burnett, Campia, and who else is going to be on?
Aaron Fenton's going to be
so
on.
we're going to have a full crew tomorrow, sweating it up about all the hero stuff. And just check out my film, The Death of Superman Lives. It's on Showtime. The Death of Superman Lives, What Happened? It's on Showtime. And you can go to the website, www.tdoslwh.com. Get a digital download. Support independent film.
And sitting over here on my right, Mr. Mark Ellis. Mark, where can people find you?
Well, Schnepp made fun of my vest. I can't wait to see you in a Supergirl costume tonight.
Hey, I think your vest is swell.
Thank you very much.
You're the
This
sharpest looking guy at
vest
this
will
table.
not be with me, but I will be at the Laugh Factory tomorrow night doing a very special charity show. So if you're in the Southern California area, come out to the Laugh Factory and see me do stand-up. Tom Arlo's also going to be there on Tuesday. You can follow me online at 5150 Ellis.
And of course, our lovely host today, looking fetching in her British flag.
Do you like it?
I do like it.
We very much love it.
Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
On Twitter and on Instagram, Ashley Mova. Happy Monday, guys.
And you guys should keep your eyes open for my new novel, The Pride, coming out here pretty soon. I'll keep you up to date. How do we find out what's coming out? Well, I'm glad you asked. Look down here. You can follow me on Twitter at John Campia, or follow me on Facebook at John Campia as well. And I will keep you guys up to date on the progress of that as well. That'll do it for us, guys. Special thanks to Ray, to Wendy, to Dennis, and everybody behind the camera, especially to all of you guys who were joining us in the chat board, talking with us live today. That was great. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll be back again tomorrow. My name's John Campia for Collider Video, and until then, bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.